It's Thursday again, tell everybody to lock in, grab some popcorn, a drink, and go and throw your AirPods in. It's the 1 hour show, constantly speaking facts. Bulletproof stats are always shooting from Matt. And when it comes to Kyle, you getting numbers and style. Jake is gonna educate you, he has that knowledge on file. Players, step your game up, don't be sluggish or lazy. Or Jimmy J might hit you with a shaky baby. Catch him on YouTube or any podcast platform. Breaking all the news down like Shaq does the backboards. No hot takes, this is where the hottest debate's at. Now kick your feet up, cause it's time for straight facts.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Straight Facts, a sports show that educates and entertains, presented to you by the Up On Game Network. It's your boy, James Jackson, joined by Jake Galley, Kyle Sirik, and Stat Matt Robinson. What's going on, y'all? How we doing today?
Doing well. Doing very well. We have a huge week of football. This is when it starts to get real and the teams start to play like
football
their divisional
in December,
opponents.
baby. Football in December,
Yeah,
baby.
very, very tough football coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good, man. I'm going to the Eagles game, talking about football. I'll be there on Sunday. We got Washington. Matt V, if you're listening.
There you go.
And Jake gave me his pen, and he thinks he's getting it back. But
I need that. That's my pen basketball pen, dude. I can't do it without it.
I'm just gonna follow you guys. I'm so excited for Eagles Washington on Sunday. It's the first time in a while that the Eagles have had like playoff hopes in a season that didn't seem dreadful. It's just like it's just like a fun. Hey, we could make the playoffs.
Really?
Playing division rival, we're favored.
since 2018, I would say probably.
I was about to say, because really? You think so? You think some of
The 2018, everything went wrong, and we squeaked our way in. 2019, everything went wrong. We squeaked our way in. Yeah. 2020, we were awful, and I can't say it's like the Super Bowl year because it's not like the Super Bowl
Not quite.
year at all.
Before we get going to the episode, because Kyle, I noticed you have the Hail to Pitt hat on. How do you feel about your boy Kenny Pickett, quote unquote, changing the game with that fake slide? Where do you side on that?
I think that
unbiased aside, for real.
I think it was dope. I mean, should they change the rule? Yeah, but he's the only one that's ever done that, and they had a rule. It's a Kenny Pickett rule now, right? There was the Tuck rule. Now you got the Kenny Pickett rule.
I forget. I'm talking to he's you love like.
But you don't think that was dope, dude? That highlight
is
is dope though.
That was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. You can't admit it. Now should it?
I just thought of it from a defender's aspect. I just thought of it from a
He took advantage of a hole in the rule book.
Yeah,
which is what you're supposed to do when you win. And then the NCAA patched up the hole.
Yeah. Should they have changed the rule? Yeah, but the highlight.
I'm glad they acted swiftly because, and Ryan Clark tweeted it. Ryan Clark was like, "Don't blame me when I knock your quarterback's block off.
Right.
Like, don't blame me when I do that."
Oh, the rule should have been changed. But what's cool about it is this the only time it's ever happened, and it's 2021. We're playing football, and they just had to address this rule. Like it was.
You want to know why?
Because it's unfair. Because it's like quarterbacks have probably thought of it, and they're like, I can't do that. Because like
the next time you try and do it, you get blown up on. Like some guy runs through your head, and you wake up in the back of a hospital.
I did watch the ACC championship game, but did he slide the rest of that game?
Probably. I don't know. Kenny just runs.
I would doubt if he tried to slide the rest of that game because as a defender, like next time you try to slide, I'm taking the targeting penalty. I'm taking off the sheer embarrassment. I'm taking the targeting penalty.
He probably slid. He actually does need to change that though because he takes a lot of hits.
Fun fact: found this out over the weekend. Someone showed me Kenny Pickett was committed to Temple University to play football at one point in his recruitment process, and that fits. You know what? That makes sense. Good for him to get out of there. That's
man, I was gonna
he dodged the bullet by going to Pitt. Good job, Ken.
He dodged the bullet. All right, let's get into the episode. That's enough of Kenny Pickett.
There's never enough of
future
Kenny
Eagles
Pickett.
quarterback.
Yeah, that's why he brought it up. That's why I brought it up to say that.
Future Eagles quarterback, Kenny Pickett. We're going to actually go into the NFL and talk about a big week in football you talked about for the Eagles. It's a big week across the entire NFL, really. And a lot of matchups are going to lead directly to that. And we'll start right now with the 9-4 Chiefs going to the 8-5 Chargers. Chargers coming off a big win. The Chiefs look right. They look like they're back right, especially after that performance. But 9-4 against 8-5, the Chargers really need one to keep pace. And I think if the Chiefs get this one, that's the separation is starting to get like real noticeable again between them and the rest of the
It's really ridiculous that like they are able to flip a switch, so to speak, and it's like, oh yeah, it's time to win some games. And it's not like their offense has looked like completely back. There have been flashes where the Chiefs have been impressive on offense, but Yeah, these two teams tied in points per game. They're the 5th and 6th best passing offenses in the league, respectively. But the big hole, and this is like the matchup I'm going to be looking at, is the run game. The Chargers 4th against the pass, very good defensively, but 31st in terms of yards per game against the run. Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting in the end zone 2 times probably has him feeling pretty good. So I would imagine last time they played, the Chiefs lost the game, but they were able to run the ball 30 times for 6.2 yards a carry. So I would have to think this game's going to be won or lost in the trenches, which is very cliche to say. But, I mean, it's true in this one.
And it's funny because going into this, the billing, if from the outside looking in, is we're going to get a shootout of a ball game. We're going to get 35 plus points, 400 yards blown across the board. But I kind of agree with you. I think whichever team does dial that in, maybe not for the entire game, but makes that like the preface of setting the tone, I think they win. And whenever the Chiefs do run the ball really well, the rare times that they do, they win the football game.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about the Chiefs versus the Chargers defense, but we need to talk about how great of a turnaround this Chiefs defense has had.
Talk about it.
It's unbelievable how horrible they were. They've allowed a combined 48 points over the last 5 games. That's just 9 a game. And they played Derek Carr twice, who's not a scrub. They played Dak Prescott. Teddy Bridgewater's not that good, but still, the fact that they've completely turned it around, it's like, oh crap, we have to get stuff together. And they did. They're the 2-time defending AFC champions, and their defense is finally giving them the offense some time to grow and fix itself, which it may have done last week.
People are starting to say more than just the Chiefs defense have gotten it right. They're starting to say the Chiefs defense is the best defense in football, or is playing like the best defense in football.
That's because Nick Wright has too much airtime on TV.
I mean, is that factor overreaction that the Chiefs defense is playing like that, or is it just relative to what they were doing in the first?
Yeah, that's the thing. Recency bias, especially with sports analysts, like, oh, they flipped the script. That's some people always want to say they flipped the script. I think they're playing great. I think they have based off recent performance, probably a top 10 unit in the league right now. The best in the league? No, I'm not going to go there. But going back to this game, I actually think this game will shoot out. The projected over-under right now is 52.5. The Chargers aren't going to get away from passing the ball with Justin Herbert. That's what they do. They did it last week with no Keenan Allen. I think Keenan Allen's back tomorrow night. Of course, it's the Thursday night game. I don't know if we mentioned that earlier. And KC will do it too. Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback, right? The big thing that I'm seeing is Rashad Slater's not going to play. Rashawn Slater.
That's huge. Yeah.
He's about to be like an all-pro left tackle.
Yeah.
His rookie year. Huge. And now you want to go against who's on the other side? Frank Clark, guys like that to come at him and get to the backfield. I think that could be a big problem for the Chargers. And you mentioned if the Chiefs win, right, they probably separated themselves for winning the division, right? I think if the Chargers win, they're now the favorites to win the division and might very well do it. They've already beat the Chiefs once. Now they'll have 2-0 on the Chiefs, hold the tiebreaker. They'll have the same record. Chargers got the Texans next week. You could probably chalk that one up to a victory. And then they got Raiders and Broncos, right? Not freebie games, but on the other side, KC still has to play Cincy. They got some tough games too. So I think just as much as the Chiefs can break away, obviously they break away, they have more of a cushion to win the division. If the Chargers win this game tomorrow, I think they win the division.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
but I also think the Chiefs are thinking about the 1 seed, not the division.
Right.
Because if the Chiefs get the 2 or 3 seed, they have to win 3 playoff games. And I don't think, and with their veteran experience, if they're the 5 or 6 seed, because the Chargers are the division, I don't think they're that worried about that. I think the bye is what's important to them, but the Chargers need the division win just from a playoff seeding perspective. This game's a lot more important for the Chargers than it is for the Chiefs, because if the Chargers aren't going to win a road playoff game against a division winner unless someone in the AFC North is really creaking.
Well, we talked about their offensive statistics, how similar they are. We're looking at 2 very similar offenses, especially from how they run from the quarterback position out. But if we look at the teams and where they are in their season, I think it's different. To me, this is the turning point for the Chargers season. After this, they got the Texans, Broncos, and Raiders. You win this game, and you got the mindset of we're winning now. And Kyle, you said it. We're now the front runners of the division. for me, it's the Chiefs' chance to solidify them back to where Matt said they were last week. I mean, saying like no one else has taken the throne in the AFC. We're still the kings of this thing.
Right.
I think that's where both of these teams are. I guess that could be a turning point for the Chiefs too, but it's more of a validation or solidification for the Chiefs. It's the turning point for the Chargers. The light flips on if you're Los Angeles if you win this game.
And I think some of we talked about the flip switch for Kansas City. A lot of that obviously had to do with the defense. I think it's like their last 6 games they haven't allowed more than 20 points. And it's against some really good teams too. You think about the Packers, the Cowboys. Las Vegas can, score sometimes. I don't think they're a great team, but points stand. So
Not last week.
And And I think that for Kansas City it was somewhat personal. Like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce not having like the best years ever. They're obviously still very good players, but and then that you can go down the offense. Patrick Mahomes not having a very good year. So this is kind of the first time that the quote unquote dynasty has been tested. And we'll see. I think that they're going to probably end out the year as the number 1 seed.
Yeah,
that's what I'll say.
Fact.
And if they do, it gets scary.
Patrick Mahomes has never played a road playoff game.
Yeah. I actually just heard that stat for
If they do end up this 1 seed, that means they finish the season strong, and that's all the Chiefs need right now for a healthy playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Don't let them go in, a little soft into the playoffs because they haven't done that yet. They've gone in best team in the AFC, second best team in the AFC. The years they've done this year, they won the Super Bowl. Year they made the Super Bowl and lost. Don't let that team come in now 5 straight victories, 6 straight victories into the playoffs. That's all that team needs to just be the top of the AFC by a wide margin the way stuff's going.
Playing your best, I always say like there's something to be said to playing your best football end of November, December.
It looks like
January.
we could be on that track. It could be scary.
Yeah, that does get scary. All right, we'll move on to the next game that we got a kind of a key in on right now. And that's the Bengals 7-6 at the Broncos 7-6 as well. 2 roller coaster teams. I mean, Matt V stood right here in week 3 or something like that and said, "I'm ready to put the Bengals in the playoffs." Then they go and lose, to the Jets, and it looks really bad. Then they go and kill the Steelers, and you're like, oh, it looks good again. So I think you got kind of the same thing with the Broncos, where the Broncos had a hot start, then they tanked, then they got up again, then they went down. Now they're kind of back up. You know what I mean? Two very similar teams again. I think, it's why they're both 7-6 and going to this matchup. So I'll start on the far end. Matt, like this is what we're looking for. The Bengals really can control their own destiny right now if they win this and they beat Baltimore and Cleveland in their final 3 games. So who are you looking at in this matchup right here?
I'm looking at Cincinnati. I trust Cincinnati because they are what I expected them to be, which is a good but really inconsistent team. And they just seem like the team that will – this is like they had up and down. Last week against the 49ers was an up and down game within it. The fact even though they lost, the fact that they came back from 14 down – got the tie, took the lead in overtime, and then got kittled, basically.
Yeah.
Just shows the fight that they have in that team. They're having a lot more fun than most teams in that conference because they have no expectations. I like Cincinnati, and I think it's kind of like a losers eliminated kind of game, too.
Yeah.
Because the Broncos lose this game. They play the Chiefs week 18. They've lost 14 consecutive games to the Chiefs or something like that. So they really need to win this game, and I just think this is where the Broncos have had a valiant season, but they're going to bow out here.
I
this
think
is time
it's
of the
tough.
season where Teddy Bridgewater
I think it's tough. I think the Bengals probably are one of the most frustrated teams in the league right now. You go back 2 weeks ago, they're playing from behind against the Chargers. They come back. Joe Mixon fumbles the ball, back for a touchdown. Chargers blow out that game, end up winning by like 20. Last week, they play horrible football till like halfway through the third quarter, muster up another comeback, send the game to OT, lose an OT, right? I mean, this team right now is playing, like, has the talent, I agree, to be a good team, right? Has the talent to knock off anyone really that's in front of them in the AFC, but they're coming up short week after week, and I'm not sure if that gear is going to turn for them. I mean, Broncos are coming off of a bye week, essentially. They played the Lions. I know it's not technically a bye week, but they got to run the ball like 45 times and beat them by 20-something. I mean, I think the Broncos are actually like hitting a groove right now, set up. I think they could actually do it.
Yeah, this game, in my opinion, it's going to come down to Burrow.
Yeah.
Like,
how
before you start, I just want to say one thing. Burrow needs to turn it on earlier.
Yeah.
Dude, he didn't turn it on last week until like the fourth quarter against San Fran, and then looked amazing.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And they need him to like be that always, like you're saying.
Yeah.
That was the first game in the past 4 games. So in a 5-game stretch, he had not been over 100 passer rating in any of those previous 4 games. And that game against the Niners was also Burrow's first multi-touchdown game in that same stretch. So he has struggled. And everyone loved to parade around Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is awesome. I was wrong about him. He can catch a little bit.
A little bit.
Jamar
Had that
Chase
tough
is
job
awesome.
against the Chargers, though.
And he also fed the intercept. Right, he can catch and he also feeds interceptions to D-backs. But you look at this team now and where they're ailed. Without Jamar Chase, they still have Tyler Boyd. They still have T. Higgins, who looks awesome. They still have Joe Mixon. But where they're struggling on offense is protecting the quarterback still. Burrow, second in the NFL in sack percentage. He's tied with Lamar.
But they knew this, right? They knew this.
That's
you
the
knew
thing.
this. You
Dude,
sold your soul to get
yelling
Jamar
at the
Chase. You
TV.
knew this,
They
right?
had an option to pick Penei Sewell. He
Mhm.
was right there, and they passed on him. And
Yeah.
everyone, all the Bengals fans, paraded around. Hey, oh, we don't need to pick a tackle. No, you do. Burrow's getting mangled. 41 sacks, most in the NFL. He's tied for the most interceptions with Trevor Lawrence, the other number 1 pick, struggling right now. And it's like, I don't know, like it does, like clearly Jamar Chase is not solving some of the issues with Burrow. And I think the only way you solve those issues is with a solid offensive line. And this is the last thing I'll say on the game, it will come down to how perfect Joe Burrow can be.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, that's exactly what I was.
You look at the stats for Denver. Here's what I would be scared of if I'm on the Cincy sideline.
Good.
The second most drive time and average plays per drive. You turn the ball over, you lose the turnover battle. You are not going to see that ball back for a while, and that's not the game the Bengals want to play.
Yeah,
And the Bengals can get ran on. And
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, like, you don't think of them as premier backs, but that backfield is very good.
No, people are sleeping on Uncle
In that
Melvin this year.
offense,
People
yeah.
sleeping on what Uncle Melvin been doing.
And
in
Javonte
Denver,
Williams
yeah.
now is very. I mean,
Absolutely.
both of them had 2 touchdowns last week.
Hmm.
I mean, against the Lions, as I said, bye week. But I mean, it's crazy. I think the Broncos are a very consistent football team, right? Maybe playing a little better than expectations, but at this point in the season, we know who they are now. They can really give you a fight. They blew out the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Ended up losing the Eagles the week after. But I mean, it happens. So I think this game, playing the game's where? In Denver? A lot closer than people think.
I do think it's Joe Burrow.
I
and
think it's
Cincy's
going to be
offense.
a close game.
I think it's Joe Burrow
Yeah.
and Cincy's offense against the Broncos.
I think when
defense.
a lot of-
I think that's where the game is won.
Yeah,
right there.
but I agree with you, Matt. Like, I know that you think it's going to be close. Yeah, it will be close. But I think when a lot of people look at this game just on the billing, the probably average NFL viewer is like, since he wins. There's a lot more than that.
You
There's
think
a lot
so?
more to-
You think
yes.
that's the easy connotation? Really?
The average person? Yeah. I think the average NFL fan.
Denver's been kind of being looked down on like all year though. Like,
Denver's
so, like,
not
that's why.
flashy. People look at Burrow like, oh, he's the man.
I mean, this
First
I
Bridgewater.
don't know. Do we have like a line on this game? Like, what would you guess?
I'm assuming it's Denver by 3.
-3, right? Yeah, that's what I would put it because
That means it's
Oh,
down the middle because you get 3 points. For
right,
being
you
the
get
home
3
team.
points.
Yeah.
So what? I don't.
It's 2.5 right now.
I don't know, dude. I might take Denver at that number
I
just
agree.
because you have the key number of 3, and then on top of that, they're going to have the ball the majority of the time, most likely. So,
All right,
DVOA's got him 18th and 19th.
man, that's tight. That's tight.
this will be a good game.
This will be a good game.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the one that y'all are going to be circling.
Matter of fact, what time is that?
You want to circle that? You got your own game to go
That's what
to.
I'm saying. Like, is that a 4:00 game? Because that's a game I want to watch.
I'm not
We
sure.
can go to the game I'm going to though.
All right, let's go to it. Eagles versus Washington football team. 2 6-7
4 o'clock.
teams, both chasing the Cowboys in the NFC East, which, by the way, is not a foregone conclusion at all. And this,
So the Cowboys are going to win the division.
let's see if one of y'all got something to say. But probably, but let's see, because Washington's still on their heels now. We talked about last week how they're not 100% in the clear. But anyway, Eagles versus Washington. Washington is currently in the 7th seed, which is the last playoff spot in the NFL right now. They play each other twice, these two teams, in the last 4 weeks of the season, essentially having the same schedule between them. But it's a big one, man. Week 15, Eagles, Washington football team. I'm going to skip Jake because I know what you're going to say. I can't talk to any of y'all, really.
I was about
I
to say,
can't talk to any of
I'm
y'all,
going
really.
to the-
I
I'm
be
going to
forgetting
the
it.
game.
For
Don't
some
worry,
reason,
guys.
I don't know why. For some reason, I feel like Kyle's my alliance when I got to, like, jump Eagles stuff. And then
Kyle's
it
just
was
as
like,
summer as I am.
I'm going to the game, so.
yeah.
Even more.
This is
in
what I'll
this
say.
case.
This is what I'll say. Last week, Taylor Heineke looked horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible. They lost, was it Jonathan Allen on the D tackle? He's out.
That's
COVID.
big.
Won't play.
He's their
That's
best
huge.
defensive lineman.
That's huge.
How's Terry McLaurin?
The Birds, McLaurin might have a concussion. Didn't have a catch. Got knocked out in third quarter. Thing about the Eagles is, and we said it 2 weeks ago talking about the Eagles, they're playing really good football right now, right? And Washington was, but then they finally got their first test last week at home against Dallas and really weren't in that game.
I don't think Washington has been I know they had a 4-game win streak, but none of their wins were impressive. Other than
I
the
think
Bucs
anytime
win.
you beat the Bucs,
Yeah,
regardless, though,
winning the first one.
You know this league. Winning 4 games in this league is tough to do. I don't care how you got those wins.
Because the wins against the Seahawks and the win against the Raiders were just such bleh. And the Panthers have been horrible since they started hot. And I think even though they didn't really play the Cowboys close, even though they played them close.
That's what I was about to say. 7-point game, that game wasn't close. And 7 point is still a lot of points to lose by. And 7 points happens to be what the Eagles are favored by this week. I think this number, don't get too flashy on it. I think the Eagles it's gonna look similar to the Saints game objectively. The Eagles-Saints game I'm talking about, where the Eagles went in, played a great football game, beat them pretty well. And I think we're going to see that on Sunday.
I think you continue being the best running team in the NFL. I think that kind of coincides with
I think it's going to be very low scoring because I think the Washington's defense is really good.
On paper, man.
But recently they played well, too.
They shut Dak down last week. I'll give them that.
And it's 17-15, 17-15, and then they played Brady pretty well, too. I just don't see how Washington can move the ball. Not because the Eagles' defense is good, but even if McLaurin is healthy and his concussion isn't bothering him.
I can see us getting ran on.
Well, just put Slay on McLaurin.
Yeah.
And I think Eagles win this game like an ugly 20-3 kind of game.
Yeah, it's NFC East football. Ugly.
I think the Eagles can show us some stuff this week and come out. If they play a sound game, they're going to.
I think so too. I mean, I see chinks in the kinks. I see kinks in the Washington football team. Chinks in the Washington football team's armor here. Like we're having the worst, pass defense in the NFL. 30th in yards, 32nd in TDs. Having injuries to their defensive line. Like the Eagles are coming in not only on a roll, but being the best running football team in the NFL, but there's openings to pass, and who knows? You guys don't know who your starter is going to be this weekend, but who knows if Gardner goes in and throws the ball over
Hurts is starting.
I almost prefer Gardner to play.
No, they announced Hurts is starting.
Did they announce him officially?
Hurts. It was the team who announced it, or was it Hurts saying, "I'm going to do everything I can do to play"? Because
that's what I saw.
An alert saying that, and he said the same thing last week, and they sat him, or 2 weeks ago.
I would almost prefer Gardner to play this game. Just like when we went to the Jets. Like, this one's in hand if we just pass the ball.
So you trust Minshew? All right, so here's where
here you go with the slippery slope.
No,
if you just throw the ball.
Going into the Jets game, I was like, it's kind of better like we start Minshew this week. I think I had the feeling like is if we started, not even thinking about the Hurts injury, just if we started Minshew that week, we're playing the Jets. He's not going to do enough to lose us the game. And he's going to play well enough. His floor isn't bad. It's just Gardner Minshew. We've seen Hurts have some bad games. We saw him throw 4 interceptions.
I think Minshew can have some bad games too.
But you don't think this is a game Minshew could lose you? You don't think this is a game Minshew could lose you?
I think it is, but I think he won't. I'm going to actually take that back. Hurts should play. But my thinking in the Jets game of that this is an inferior opponent and he's going to be able to get the job done, I do believe that. But I think Hurts should play, actually.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if he will. I think Jay Glazer reported, so Matt said that they were splitting reps this week in practice, and Jay Glazer had reported that it was a 2 to 4 week injury. So this would be technically week 3. He missed the past 2. I mean, he didn't miss the past 2. One of them was a bye. But I mean, it is still a possibility if he is banged up and it's an ankle and he's a running quarterback. We've seen him put his foot in the ground and make people miss, and you love that about him. But you don't want to put him out there if there is a chance. I'm just saying I don't know for sure that it will be Hurts. So saying that, going into it, I am still confident the Eagles are going to win this game.
I'm kind of trending towards the Eagles winning this game too. Like you talked about the Eagles defense not being like so great, or the Eagles defense not being good. Like I think the Eagles defense is playing really well so far, and the addition of Darius Slay is now officially the captain of your defense. Like Fletcher Cox may be the veteran statesman, but that's the best player on your defense. Maybe the best player on your team right now because he's playing lights out. And if you turn Washington over, I think you only need one extra possession to really break this game open.
Yeah.
And then, like you say, Kyle, you kind of beat them handily after that. it may teeter between 10 and 14 points, but you have a grip on the game. And I think all it takes is for that turnover to happen once, cash in on it, and now you have all the momentum in this game.
And one thing I will say is that it may be even smart if Hurts is any sort of banged up to start Minshew, because remember that they see Washington in Washington 2 weeks from now again. So
This game's in Washington.
or
No.
excuse
This game's
no,
in
this
No,
game's
he's
in
saying
Philly.
in
This
2
game's in
weeks.
Philly.
We
Right,
play
right,
them
right,
I'm
right.
again.
saying right.
Yeah.
They play Washington in Washington with the Giants in between. So if you don't want to, if you want to up the percentage of you winning both games, a good way to do that would be not showing them what your offense against their defense looks like with your QB1. If you have a reason not to,
I agree with that. If you don't need all these wins, you need all
right?
these wins.
That's fair. No, that's
you
fair.
can't,
That's fair.
can't play with
That's
your food
fair.
right now. You need all these wins. All right, that good for the NBA talk. Are you okay? Are you okay with that over there, Stat Man? Because you really want to declare an Eagles win. Are you okay?
Eagles are gonna win.
Yeah, let's do picks. We
Yeah.
didn't pick any of these games.
Yeah, let's
Let's
real
do
You want to
quick.
go down? All right. Chiefs, Chargers. Jay, go ahead. Who you
Chiefs.
Chiefs, because the Chargers' defense isn't good enough.
Chiefs.
I think it shoots out though.
I'll do it. I'll say a Bertram gets them. Just because I hate when a full panel goes.
It's
all
gonna be a
teams.
fun game.
It's gonna be a really fun game, but I think the Chargers can get it done. I'll go the Chargers. I'll go the Chargers
Okay.
just for the sake of parity. Bengals, Broncos.
I don't know if I can be completely unbiased in this because I do have a bet for the Broncos to make
we
the
don't need you to
playoffs.
be- We just talked about the Eagles for 20 minutes.
Put your analyst hat on for a second, please.
Bengals, Joe Burrow looks like himself.
Yeah, go ahead.
Broncos. Broncos are the better football team. Bengals have more talent. Broncos are the better football team right now.
Bengals.
I'm also gonna go Bengals. I think the
Oh.
firepower. I think
Don't let
it's
me
gonna
be
get
right
one.
on this one.
Yeah, it's,
Don't let me be
it's,
right.
it's fun when you go out on a limb and you get it right. All right,
I'm not gonna.
Eagles, Washington.
No, I'm not even.
Yeah,
even,
none of y'all
I'm
have to
not-
answer.
but you-
No,
you think.
it's a clean sweep across the board for the Eagles.
Eagles easily.
Here you go.
I'll put it in the notes, Matt, that you said
Eagles
easily. So if it's not easy, if it's a one possession,
You say
game-
you think it's going to be an ugly.
No, I agree. Matt did say this too. I agree. that
Ugly game, but easy game.
easy. So like 10 points.
I don't
20 to
how does that
3.
happen? I don't
20
think.
to 3.
20
Okay,
to
that's
3.
a proclamation. I'm not going that far.
I'm not gonna predict anything as easy, but I think it'll look like the Cowboys game. I think we'll have it.
I don't
in
think 20 to
hand.
3 is that ugly.
I think we'll have it in hand a decent amount. They might have a shot to punch back in the fourth, and who knows if they do it. But
All
Birds
right.
win.
All right.
All right. You got it. We got it all on paper. We'll check tape and we'll see who was right, who was wrong.